Good morning, everybody. My name is Jody. My husband David John and I have a small farm in the panhandle of North Idaho. These are our stories and adventures, and today I'm going to be working on turning 2 pork legs into ham. The first step is going to be creating the water bath brine that the pork legs will soak in to start their transition. Sorry, chicken jumping the fence. Starting the transition from being just a pork roast into ham. So thought you guys would find this interesting to see how to do it. So on with getting this brine created. Now you can see the meat that I was talking about. The first step is going to be weighing them and seeing how much brine per chunk of meat I'm going to need. So let me grab my tablet. And I have on this scale zeroed out this pan being on there, just so I can get the meat and not make a huge mess of the countertop. So this piece is the upper part of the pig leg. And it's heavier than what my scale will read. So, and I know this other one's even bigger, so this means I'm going to have to get out the digital scale and hopefully it goes big enough. So, be right back with you with the other scale. Okay, so I have the digital scale here, have it set on pounds and ounces, and do have it zeroed out for this pan. So once again, the top part of the shoulder is 12 pounds 10 ounces. 12 pounds 10 ounces. And let's see how big this other one is. And it's actually smaller than the other one, even though it looks bigger. And that is 9 pounds 15 ounces. So just shy of being 10 pounds. Okay, so I'm going to sit down, do the math from the recipe to see how much stuff I'm going to need, and I'll be back with you to show you what the end results are on the amount that I need and the ingredients needed to do the curing. Okay, so now that I've got my recipe divided and added up to the amounts that I need for the poundage of each one, let's go over what the ingredients are. The first is kosher salt. I'm going to use a combination of Himalayan pink salt and pure sea salt as my kosher salt. Light brown sugar. Curing salt. And this is actually a very important step in it. It helps tenderize it and, like it says, cure the meat, and it does affect the flavor if you don't use curing salt. Hence the reason for me finding this. I had to go to 3 separate grocery stores, and another one that was hard to find, molasses. Walmart did not have either one of these. I had to go to a local grocery store to find them. And they had lots of it. And then the last one is going to be pickling spice, and then water to cover the amount that's needed to cover the meat in the stock pots. So the first step is going to be I'm going to put a quart of water in each pan. We'll add the ingredients, bring it up just warm enough to melt the brown sugar and the molasses and all the salts, and kind of get the pickling spices where they're starting to really release because they've been brought up to temperature. And then we'll add some cold water to it, because you do not want to put your raw meat into the hot liquid or you'll just start to cook it and then it could go kind of funky on you. So going to be transitioning to the GoPro so you can watch me do this, and then we'll start getting the brine going. Okay, the first step is I'm going to add some, probably 2 quarts of water. To each one. Okay, so this one over here is going to be the bottom, and this one right here is going to be the top. So try to keep everything organized. And if I really was organized, I would have had everything opened up and ready to go. But I'm sure you find that when you're cooking and you buy new stuff, it's not until you go to use it that you're like, oh shoot, I should have opened that. Okay, so for the bottom it's going to be 3 3¾ cup of the kosher salt, which I'm doing a combination of the Himalayan and the pink salt, so I'm gonna kind of just do a mix of both. Two. Three, and about 3/4 of a cup. Not quite enough. Okay, there's that one. And this other one takes a lot more because it's bigger. So 4. One. 2, come on. 2. 3. 4. And I know this seems like an awful lot of salt, but back in the olden days, it would have been way more salt because their hams would have just been pickled and cured and then just hung somewhere cool out in the air until they were ready to start eating it. So a lot less salt, and at the end I'll show you another trick on removing some of the salt from it, because we do have refrigerators nowadays that this stuff will go into. Okay, and this one gets 3 cups exactly of brown sugar. And just like any time you're using brown sugar, you want to pack it into your measuring spoons and then level it off. One. 2. 3. And the top gets 3.5 cups. Two. Only making a tiny mess, but it's part of baking or cooking. Three and a half cup. Okay, the next is the curing salt. It's 3 3/4 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3, 3/4. And this one gets 4 1/2. 1, 2, 3, 4 1/2. And then the pickling spices. Bottom gets a tablespoon and a teaspoon. Tablespoon. And a teaspoon. This one is 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons. 1, 2, 1. And I'm measuring-ish on that. A little extra fell in, but it'll be okay. And then comes the molasses. If I can get it open. There we go. Just as yummy as I remember when I was younger. Okay, so the bottom gets 1/4 and 1/8. And then the top gets 1/2 cup. Okay, it's almost up to temperature, and the one thing nice about using a rubber scraper as opposed to a whisk, excuse me, as opposed to a whisk, is you can feel the brown sugar and the salt sitting on the bottom, so you're able to move it around a little easier, and you'll know quicker when it's ready to start cooling down. They're both almost there. Do not want it to come to a boil. Even though I do like candied ham, don't think that's what David John was shooting for. Okay, the one for the bottom feels all dissolved. The one for the top Not quite, almost. Give it a couple more minutes and it should be good to go. Okay, and these are basically ready to have some cold water put in. So, gonna get them off the stove top, start getting them cooled down, and then we'll add some cold water and get the hams put in. So we'll be back with you in just a couple minutes. Okay, so I've got both brines cooled down. I did cheat and add some ice to it to help cool it a little faster. Gonna add some water, mix it, and then put the roasts in and see if I need to adjust the water. Okay, we'll start there. Give this quick stir. And very delicately place these pieces of pork, not to drop them in and splash and make a huge mess over everything. So, this is the bottom one going into his mixture. So I will have to add some more water in there, but I can get that after I get the top piece put in. Hopefully I can get him smashed down in here. So the top piece is not going to need any more water added to it. It will just be the bottom piece. Okay, that looks good on him. And you're probably now going, Jody, it's floating, they're supposed to be submerged. That's where the plates come into play, because I'll put the plates on them, and that's supposed to help keep them submerged as the plate tilts. Sort of. Let's see if I can. Okay, now I kind of got the plates set in place and submerged. They will be sitting in this brine. It says for every, what is it? 2 pounds of pork, it will be 1 day in the brine. So basically 5 days they're going to be in the brine. Going to get these guys put into the fridge. Probably have to readjust the plates once I get that step done. But in 5 days we'll be back to see what it looks like, and I will be checking on them every day just to make sure they're staying submerged. But in 5 days we'll come back and do the next step on them. So see you in 5 days or in 2 seconds.